Looks much better on screen. The thing is, unfortunately, there's slightly more risk inherent with it. Russell is very good. He picks it up very quickly. He's very physical. I went to Australia to start with, spent a couple of weeks with him rehearsing out there. So we were just going through the basic movements out there, getting him used to the sword. The same as when we did Gladiator, I went out to Australia to teach him for a month before we moved back to the UK, and then I started to choreograph with him and everything else for another month. So he had a month of basic sword training that I trained him in Australia at his farm, and then a month of training and choreography to sort of go through the fights, and then we would do ongoing choreography as we were shooting the movie. So Russell's a natural athlete. He's a man's man kind of thing. He's one of those guy. I remember we were playing rugby against the Maltese national team, because I used to play rugby a lot when I was a kid, and we were playing Russell desperately. He's a rugby player. He's a big rugby fan. He was so desperate to play in the team. It was the Gladiator team versus the Maltese national team. And half the guys in the Gladiator team had never played rugby. They were just stunt guys who were big guys who were from Eastern Europe, and it wasn't a big thing in Eastern Europe. So only a couple of us really knew the rules, and it was a bit crazy. But Russell was so desperate to play in that game, and the insurance company and the producers wouldn't let him play. He was pissed off. He's definitely a guy who wants to get in there. He's a hands-on guy for sure.
Pretty competitive then, you'd say?
Oh, very, very.
But they wouldn't let him. So did he do it? So the question is, did he
No,
say
he didn't do it. No, he didn't do it.
No, he didn't do it.
No, he didn't do it.
Too much money, I guess, on the line. He's like, all right, let's wait till after we're done shooting the movie, then we're gonna do the rugby game.
He would have done that I'm sure he would have done that if he could. He's definitely one of those guys. Yeah, I mean, it was when we were doing the horse sequence, and he's got to jump over a chariot in the arena, and again, we had a double to do it. It was all rehearsed, everything else, and he was desperate to get on that horse and do it himself.
With Russell Crowe putting the fight scenes together, because there was a lot of, there's animals in The Last Samurai, but there seemed like there was more animal with the tigers and the dealing with that. That's like an extra added I guess complication to the mix. How was that work with?
It is and it's not. I mean, the thing is with Ridley, what he would do was, Ridley's a great artist, so and he had a really good storyboard guy as well at the time. And so the fight sequence with the tigers, for instance, he would have the main beats. It's like, they start at the beginning, and then he pushes him back towards one tiger. One tiger comes out and swipes, and he just misses his legs. So that's the first beat. So I've got to choreograph all the bits to take us to that beat. And then the next beat in the storyboards is when Russell Crowe's knocked down and the tiger jumps on his, or whatever. I can't remember exactly. It's a long time since I've seen the movie. But I go out and I go, okay, we've got to start in roughly this position. We've got to get to there. Then from there, we've got to get to here. And these guys have got to let the tiger out. So then you start choreographing the fight, you put it all together, and then you teach the actors. And I was really lucky. Joaquin Phoenix, Russell Crowe learns really quick. I had 3 weeks. We bought in. Oh, it was Sven Ollie Thorsen was the guy in the mask, and Sven came in, and he'd not really done much sword work. He was a martial artist. I think he was a karate guy from the Dutch team or something. Previously he had been. He was a stuntman who was a friend of Arnold Schwarzenegger. And he came in, and I had 3 weeks to teach him. And he was a little stiff. He was not quite as fluent. And Russell learns really quick. And Russell also has sometimes a little short temper, shall we say, in terms of, not accepting other people's ability to not be as good as he is sometimes. And so, I can teach Russell something in a day, which it might take me 3 days to teach someone else. So I've got to you've got to play the politics of I don't need Russell today for rehearsal. I'll take Sven and I'll go and do this, and then I'll bring Russell in because I know how his temperament is and how it's going to work. And so that fight, you basically choreograph, you work it all out, and then I showed it to Ridley. I just said, "This is the fight," and he looked at it. He went, "Great, let's shoot." There's that much. There's that much confidence. Once he believes in you, you don't have to worry. It's literally he would just go, "Show me the fight." The one where Russell was chained to Jaimin Hansu, as they were chained together, fighting together as a team. I'd gone to Morocco 3 or 4 weeks
Great actor.
earlier than everyone else. Oh yeah, Jaimin's great.
Yeah.
And I put the fight together. Ridley came in with the team. He got off the plane, came straight to the location. He went, okay, show me the fight. Okay, guys, let's do it. Ready and action from beginning to end. Everything was choreographed like a theatrical thing so that he could shoot any direction he wanted. And he'd never used that. He'd never had that before. He was so used to shooting lead actor and then putting background in, whereas I'd choreographed everything in one go. So he could put the camera anywhere in the amphitheater and it would work. It was all time. So this fight was ending while this one was just getting exciting. That fight was ending while this fight ended exactly the right. So it was all choreographed like a theatrical thing in real time, and everybody had spent so much time getting it to that level that when Ridley came in, he just sat in the stands. He went, show me action. Okay, let's come back and shoot this.
Really?
There was no other discussion. It was just, okay, that's great, let's shoot.
Now, so it was no green screen then. It was shot all on or was there green screen? You had the actual stage settings?
For the one where they were chained together, it wasn't green screen at all. For the one where we had the tigers, we added some. They were real tigers, but obviously we couldn't have. There was only one, I think, that was a trained tiger. The others were circus tigers, and so you couldn't let them get too close to Russell in terms of when they came in, we'd have to comp it in, so you'd end up having the tiger swiping without anyone there, and then you'd put Russell in. Because it was a circus tiger that would basically, if it catches you, it's going to start, eating you.
That's funny. I seen an interview with Russell where he was like, yeah, we're doing the fight scene, and I'm like, yo, mate. He was talking to the dude in the mask. He's like, yo, mate, you're getting a little close to the tiger, and I guess he ignored him or something, and then the tiger ended up getting him or touching him a little bit, and he was like, I told you. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, there were a couple of incidents. I mean, there was one incident I remember the animal handler, Sled Reynolds. And we normally, because of the way the tigers were, you would have a stake. It's quite a big stake with an eye at the top. And you would run the chain through the eye, and then you'd hammer the stake into the ground. So literally it's 2 foot of stake under the ground, with an eye and a chain that goes out. So you've got the tiger on the end of a chain, like a collar, like a dog. And if the tiger starts looking around and turning to try to, the 3 guys holding it, just pull it, and it's going down on the ground, and it can't get anyone. It's literally at the stake. And Ridley wanted a shot. That was, we needed one more pickup shot. I can't remember, it was one day, and literally it was a tiger shot. And so, we need this quick, and nobody had a big stake, and Sled had a small spike, and he came over and he went, oh, this is fine, this is just for this one shot, it's no problem. And he started hammering the stake, and I looked at the stake, I went, that's not going to hold. If that tiger wants to go, it's not going to hold him. And I said, okay, I'll just walk over here, guys, you're the animal handlers, so he hammered it in. Anyway, the tiger, we wanted the tiger to be more agitated. That was the whole point of the shot. It wasn't because they'd come out at the beginning of the sequence while we were shooting, all, angry and everything. And then after a little while, they get bored, even though there's 1,500 people in the crowd shouting, and the tigers just get bored after an hour or 2 hours, and they're not looking like they're animated. So we needed a shot of an animated tiger. And literally, they tried to rile the tiger up, and the tiger was pulling, and as it pulled, the stake just flipped up out the ground. So now they've got this tiger on the end of a chain, like a dog. And the tiger just looks around and he went, wait a second, I'm free. So he turned around. The guys dropped the chain, started running. 3 stunt guys who were holding the tiger started running. The tiger's, boom, he's on top of them already. The animal handlers are running in, pulling the tiger off. They're pulling the tiger off the guy. The guy's trying. Luckily, nobody got hurt, but it was a pretty heavy situation.
So you'd say that's a fun day on set?
Well, it was a memorable day. I'm not going to say fun, but memorable for sure.
That's cool, man. I really appreciate you coming on, dude, and just kind of chatting with me.